can we have a conversation, please, about Piers Morgan here on Talk Radio? And I'm amazed that nowhere else has picked up on this story. Now, I love Piers Morgan. I really do. I think that he's turned around Good Morning Britain. I think that he is, when he does life stories and when he does certain TV shows where he's interviewing people in the public eye, I think he is one of the best interviewers that we have here in the UK. When he's genuinely passionate about his subject, I think he's great. What I don't appreciate so much about Piers Morgan is the fact that increasingly I feel like his stance on subjects is more about promoting brand Piers Morgan than it is about having a genuinely held belief. In fact, that's probably reflective of the kind of clickbait media environment that we are in nowadays. And Piers Morgan is one of the main proponents of that. Piers Morgan is one of the main culprits when it comes to clickbait journalism. And when it comes to changing one's opinion with the wind. Now, I could tell you article after article after article that Piers Morgan has written, and you can look at his Twitter feed anytime, day or night, to see that he preaches hypocrisy, he preaches disrespect. He says that Harry and Meghan are absolutely outrageous towards the monarchy. Here's one. Piers Morgan brands Meghan Markle a mini royal Kardashian. Here's another one. Piers Morgan lashing out at Harry and Meghan for their staggering disrespect for the Queen. In fact, there are endless articles. Here's a list of them. Endless articles of Piers Morgan where he has gone on at Harry and Meghan. Stop playing the victim, Harry. You and Meghan brought negative press on yourselves. Piers Morgan, if you're truly a humanitarian, Meghan, show some damn heart to your loving father. Another one here. Why Meghan self-indulgent empowering banana was a humiliating farce. Meghan Markle is a ruthless social climbing actress. Piers Morgan, foolish father of Meghan, but no one has to blame but himself for missing the biggest day of his daughter's life. That's actually almost pro-Meghan. Meghan's appearance at Queen's birthday proves her decision to go MIA during Trump's state visit was a shameful failure of her royal duty. Fair enough. Piers Morgan, if you want to write articles criticising Meghan Markle, that's absolutely fine. If you want to write articles criticising Prince Harry, that's absolutely fine. But don't talk to me about hypocrisy of Meghan and Harry, and don't talk to me about disrespecting the monarchy. Piers Morgan, you are in no position, as much as I absolutely love you on Good Morning Britain, you are in absolutely no position to preach respect for the royal family. You are in no position to write an article where you actually discuss the staggering disrespect, your words, towards the monarchy. Because if you are that concerned, Piers Morgan, about respect for the monarchy, then what were you doing appearing in the 2011 documentary presented by Keith Allen, financed by Mohammed Al Fayed, suggesting that the royal family and the British establishment were complicit in the murder of Diana, Princess of Wales? You didn't just appear in that documentary once. You were interviewed about 3 times during that documentary. And I'll give you some direct quotes from it of what you actually said in that documentary, will I, Piers? It's weird that at a time when you know the establishment can think of nothing worse than Dodi Fayed, son of Mohammed, marrying, possibly impregnating Diana, that she's conducting a major international offence against landmines with all the crippling economic problems that would bring for the British establishment again, and America. If you add all of these into the mix, then if you were ever going to do something dodgy to Diana, that's the time you would do it. She'd become trouble. As she used to say to me, I'm trouble to them. I won't go away. I won't go away quietly. Then the voiceover sums up Piers' words by saying, presidents have been killed for less. So if you're talking about disrespect to the monarchy, Piers, well, what are you doing appearing in a documentary when perhaps times were a bit tougher for you and perhaps when work was a little more thin on the ground? What are you doing appearing in a documentary that suggests that the establishment and the royal family murdered Diana? What are you doing appearing in a documentary, Unlawful Killing, in 2011, that is so controversial, that is so libelous towards Prince Philip and members of the royal family? It's been banned here in the United Kingdom. That documentary is banned. It's not allowed to be shown here in the UK. The reason? Because the allegations in there are completely unfounded, and it is so libelous towards members of the royal family, so libelous specifically towards Prince Philip, of course the Queen's husband, that it can't be shown here in the UK. Yet you were prepared to appear in it. You were prepared to appear in a documentary in which the premise is that the Queen's husband was behind the murder of Diana, Princess of Wales. You directly reference in that documentary the reason that that might be the case was the fact that she was going out with Dodi Fayed. Now, if that is not an implication of that murder being and having racist implications, well, then I don't know what is. So surely, if this was your genuinely held view back in 2011, Piers, you should be applauding Harry and Meghan wanting to leave the royal family. You should be absolutely patting them on the back. You should be saying how brilliant it is that they want to be away from the British establishment and MI5 and all of those agencies that you directly reference in this documentary as being behind the murder of his mother. Unless, of course, you'll say anything in order to further your own career. And at the time, it suited your career to go on the record saying this. Now, you've changed your tune because you know it'll sell more newspapers and get more clicks for you to have said that basically they're being disrespectful towards Her Majesty and disrespectful towards the establishment. An establishment that you were prepared to go onto a documentary say was behind the murder of Diana. It's unbelievable. And it's unbelievable hypocrisy. So don't preach to us about hypocrisy of Jamila Jamal. Don't preach to us the hypocrisy of people who are not being kind on the internet. Don't preach to us the hypocrisy of people being disrespectful towards the royal family, because I'd say it's pretty disrespectful to go into a documentary that says the Queen's husband, whom you seem so concerned about Her Majesty and the respect being shown towards her, I'd say that's pretty disrespectful, Piers, wouldn't you? So I think you can give us all a break when it comes to hypocrisy. Do you want another Piers quote? When you have the head of the security services calmly announcing, "We've never killed anyone in the last 50 years, I laughed out loud. What's the point of them then? We've all been to James Bond movies, thanks. We know the security services do a lot of dark stuff." These are Piers's direct words in the documentary. So the idea we're supposed to believe that in 50 years that British secret agents have never actually killed anyone, I don't believe it, he says. So if you don't believe that, where does that leave the rest of the establishment evidence? An establishment you seem awfully keen to protect now, Piers. An establishment who you seem to worry that Harry and Meghan are being awfully disrespectful towards. Now, to me, that is absolute outright rank hypocrisy. You either believe what you said in 2011 or you believe what you're saying now. But if your words are to be believed from 2011, I mean, merely appearing in that documentary, let alone the direct quotes I've given you about what he said in that documentary, which incidentally, I'll remind you, is banned in the UK, so controversial was it, but by merely even appearing in a documentary where the entire premise is that the establishment, the CIA, MI5, MI6 are potentially behind the murder of Princess Diana, by merely appearing in that documentary, you are surely showing huge disrespect to the royal family. You're showing huge disrespect towards the establishment. So how can you possibly sit there and preach that Harry and Meghan are being disrespectful? You've actually written an article here saying Harry and Meghan have staggering disrespect for the Queen. The staggering disrespect these two keep showing the Queen is outrageous. Daily Mail's editor-at-large tweeted on Saturday. Well, I'd go so far as to say that appearing in a documentary that accuses the Queen's husband of murdering his daughter-in-law, that's staggering disrespect, Piers. So why don't you give us a break when it comes to the hypocrisy? Now, this isn't about whether you believe there was something sinister about the death of Diana, Princess of Wales. That's not the point I'm making. There are many people that have gone on the record saying that they think there's something dodgy about it. There are many people that have gone on the record that have said they don't think that something is dodgy about it. And by the way, nothing has ever been proven. And let's remind ourselves that the allegations in this documentary that Piers Morgan appeared are so far-fetched and so libelous, the documentary was banned here in the United Kingdom from being shown. That's not the point I'm making. But the point I'm making is you cannot appear in a documentary of that nature. You cannot appear in something that has been produced like that and then go on to preach about respect towards the royal family, to then go on to preach about how Harry and Meghan are disrespectful. Because if you believe the words you said in that documentary, and if you believe the premise of that documentary, which presumably you did by appearing in it, well, you should be applauding the fact that they want to get away from this horrific establishment. You should be applauding the fact that Harry and Meghan want to get away from the royal family. But you're not saying that now because it suits you to say something different. And to me, that is hypocrisy. Sorry, Piers. 0344 499 1000 is the number to call if you agree with me. You know, and I totally and utterly think that it's legitimate. I'm not having a go at him for criticising Harry and Meghan. You're welcome to do that. I just don't think you're in a particularly great position to criticise Harry and Meghan if you've previously been in a documentary accusing the family they're leaving of murdering one of their members. You can't have it both ways. 0344 499 1000. If Piers was so critical of the royal family, he would be backing Meghan and against the royal family, says Mark. Well, totally. I'll give you the direct quote again. It's weird that at a time when you know the establishment can think of nothing worse than Dodi Fayed, son of Mohammed, marrying, possibly impregnating Diana, she's also conducting a major international offence against landmines, with all the crippling economic problems that would bring for the British establishment again, and America. If you add all those to the mix, if you were ever going to do something dodgy to Diana, these are Piers' words, that's the time you would do it. She'd become trouble. As she used to say to me, I'm trouble to them, I won't go away quietly. He also goes on later to say, I think most of the British public still think it was dodgy. Well, again, surely you should be applauding Harry and Meghan then. Not writing continual articles criticising them, not writing continual articles saying how disrespectful they are towards a royal family. And why would you reference the establishment thinking of nothing worse than Dodi Fayed impregnating Diana if you're not making an implication that there was potential racism there? Well, then surely a mixed-race woman like Meghan, if you were believing what you were saying then, would do anything she could to distance herself from the royal family. You should be applauding her for wanting to do that. I'm sorry, there is nothing that annoys me more than hypocrisy. And he's being a hypocrite. He's being a total hypocrite. And I'm quite sure he's probably quite happy that this documentary, as outrageous as it is and as unfounded as the claims are in it, is banned here in the UK. Because if it's banned, probably he's thinking no one will actually notice it. 0344 499 1000 though, if you want to join the conversation. And again, this is not a conversation about whether you believe there is a conspiracy about the murder of Diana or not, or whether you believe it's an accident or not. I'm not having that conversation. As it stands, the inquest found it was an unlawful killing, and I think it's fair enough to ask questions around it. Actually, that documentary does ask some questions around it. Some of it is far-fetched and ridiculous, but some of it are legitimate questions. Journalists do ask legitimate questions. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is you can't appear in a documentary like that and then criticise Harry and Meghan for being disrespectful towards the royal family. You can't. If you do, you're a hypocrite.